Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural divine heirs. Today is June the 24th, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar, 1441 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2020.
Grand failure, Negroes. Grand failure, Negroes.
On the Greco-Roman calendar. Today is full moon, so, you know, the energies are high, as you can hear. It affects everything, the animals, the plants, the oceans, us all, when the moon is full. So, and it's a super moon today, so we have some awesome things that are being done. Yes, it is the strawberry moon, and that's important for us as well. And the cosmos has done many things over the last 30 days that was not the plan, that was not on the calendars and almanacs in terms of eclipses, both lunar and solar, as well as blood moon and now full strawberry moon. So I'll just say a few things and then we're going to yield the floor. So yes, the hybrids are, you know, the ones that are allowing that energy to turn them into, you know, the nature. You know, that we all have to mind our energy during this time. So many of us felt the energy shift almost as if, and I'm not sure if you all felt this. Yes, it's muted. Okay, so that way we can talk. But it felt as if we went back in time in our activities by about maybe a year or two. I don't know if anyone else felt that, but this energy shift took us back. It didn't take us back. It just made it feel like we were going back. This is an awesome reminder of how perfectly powerful and generous our ancestors are. They're giving us an opportunity to go back and perfect the things and the actions and the processes that we have been diligently working on to perfect over time. Because the grand rising happens over a period of time. I know it seems that, you know, when we first come in, we want everything to happen right away. And it doesn't happen right away, but it does happen quickly. And now everything is going to pick up velocity, speed, motion. The grand rising is going to go into warp speed. It's already moving into warp speed. The ancestors are saying, okay, take a step back, look at what you've done so far, and cross all T's, dot all I's.
You're the ancestors rejected,
sure
is what you are. The ancestors rejected you, Negroes.
Just one more. And
ancestors
that's what they're
rejected
giving
you.
us an opportunity.
You're the ancestors rejected, all of you. Are you listening to Pauline's bullshit tonight? You guys are the ancestors rejected is what you are. You're not.
They are the ones that...
And I don't need none of your goddamn sandwiches either.
Let me just find where he is.
Yeah, go ahead. Are you having trouble with your technology there, Pauline? What's the problem?
No. Actually, we're in complete control. We're in complete control, so let's keep going. So the ancestors are giving us an opportunity to go back and to perfect everything that we've been doing in the past, which is exciting. Let's see. They are, so again, you know, when we first woke up, we felt like we were rushed and had to hurry and get things done. We are not rushed for time on what we're doing. Because the ancestors are going to give us plenty of time to get everything right. We have all the time we need to do everything that we need to do so that our processes are without spot or wrinkle or blemish or any such thing. Our turbans are going, and fezzes, and our sovereign holy garments are going to be pure white in terms of the processes by the time the ancestors are continuing to move through us and as we continue to manifest Allah on the earth. Previously, when our ancestors would roll back the eternal clock, and I don't know about you all, but I felt this way. When they would roll back the eternal clock back to the previous Piscean era, that it felt like they were doing that, and the programming would produce fear that we may have lost ground, so to speak, or missed a mark. But that's not what that energy shift means. It actually means that we've gone forward and we've elevated. And now the ancestors are saying, okay, take a breath, because we're in the 30 days, by the way, after Pentecost right now, the 30 days. And the ancestors are saying, okay, you all have demonstrated, you've done your due diligence, you've studied, you're unifying more and more every day. So now, take a breath and look back at what you've done, look back at your processes, look back at what you've done to unify and see where you can improve. Because there's always going to be room for improvement in what we do because we're so precise in everything that we do. Our scientific nature is coming full to fruition. It's coming to full fruition right now. We can see the science happening, okay? And the scientist is coming out in us. Okay, I'm going to unlock the conference for just a moment so that our English can sign out and sign back in. She's having a little bit of difficulty. So I'm gonna unlock it. Here. Okay. So, to the contrary, when we feel the energy shift into what we call a retrograde, because that's what it is, it's a retrograde. We can, Islam. Okay. So when we feel that shift of the energy back into a retrograde, it's a clear indicator that we have accelerated forward, but with clearer eyes to see the processes, the actions and the demonstrations that we've done in a more perfect way. So we're cleaning them up as we go because that's something that we said, we made a commitment when we first started all of this work. We made a commitment and said, okay, we'll go ahead and get started. The processes won't be perfect from the beginning, but we're going to demonstrate them anyway, and then the ancestors will bless them and give us more clarity on them as we go. They just want to see if we're bold enough to go ahead and do the demonstrations and ensure that we're protected, and they do that. Our ancestors, through us, protect us. We're cleaning up as we go, which is what we gave our commitment to ourselves, to our nation, and to our government to do over time. Okay. Now, we're now moving into moving more deeply and more competently into the banking and the finance and our sovereign gold back Moorish sovereign Gamarian money. So I want to show you, when we first announced the gold standard in 2019, so that's been a couple of years now, we announced that, okay, the gold standard is here on our land. It never left, but we needed to proclaim it on the public record as a rebuttal to the fraud that's been going on the land. And when we announced the gold standard, and then, we had already leaned the Service Corporation, and then we said, okay, we're going to put some gold onto the public record. as a nation to secure the land and to rebut any claims that have anything to do with this land and any of that. We're doing it first at the height level of universal level, and then the processes that we do, they trickle down to the in proprio solo level, where we each do processes for ourselves to save ourselves. So when some saw the 666 trillion, they were thinking, okay, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be competent at anything because there's 666 trillion on the public record. That's not true. That is actually giving us breathing room so that we can take some time and breathe, get competent, and demonstrate our sovereign status. Okay? So what those three steps did, the 3 steps were to leave the service corporation, to proclaim the gold standard, and then to place the 666 trillion on the public record. Those 3 steps by our nation started the analog, the back-end banking. Because as you know, those who are in finance, as you know, in banking, there is an entire back end of the banking system that the users don't see. And that back end has always started with documents on the public record and something that supports those documents. For example, it has to be the full faith and credit of the people. That's what happened in 1933. There were a whole bunch of signatures that were gotten at that time, and actually that happened around 1927, 1928. There were a bunch of signatures of the heirs that were handed over to the corporate, and they took those signatures and they said, okay, we have the buy-in of the heirs, so let's just create a back-end analog banking system, and then we'll take that banking system and modernize it as we go. So if you look back at some of the financial instruments that were floating around back then, there are checks that have nothing but a plain check number and something on the left-hand side that tells who wrote the check, and something on the right-hand side that says who's authorizing the transfer. So their system it started out very manual, analog, and very simple. That's why it took all the way up until the 70s or 80s for checks to even clear in a timely manner. And even then, it took 3 to 5 days. Most of us in our lifetime, we remember checks taking 3 to 5 days to clear. And in some cases, 10 or 12 days, business days to clear. That was because they were still in the process of using a back-end analog system that they were moving on to a digital platform. Well, we're not using their platform. We have to start everything analog first, okay? And that's what we've done. We've already started put the back-end analog system together, and then it's supported by our lien, our court actions, and any other documents that we put out that have a gold clause in them, because that's in alignment with the Constitution. So that is how we know that we are in control of our financial system, is because of the analog, the back-end analog banking that has taken place, that we have not transferred to a digital platform. Not yet. Because see, when we do transfer it to a digital platform, it's going to be a digital platform that we create from start to finish. It has to be one that we create and not one that's created by the hybrids and the corporates. There have been some Moors who put the word dollarium in all capital letters and black ink and put it on to foreign hybrid systems, and when they put it onto that system, the system receives it because it's real money, but it makes it inaccessible to either side. There's a disconnect. Why? Because if you put something onto one of those platforms and it's not started out analog from our perspective, if it's not put on there with affidavits and liens, then it's going to be hypothecated by them, but they won't be able to use it either because it comes from the heirs. So I'm going to show you really quickly, and then we'll get into the voting. I'm going to show you something that was sent to me today that I knew nothing about. But one of the Moors, or some of the Moors, I don't know if it was a group of Moors, I'm not sure who did it, and it doesn't matter because, again, I know that their intentions were honorable. It had to be honorable because they were being Moors and stating that they were Moors when they did this demonstration. So I'm not sure who did it, but I want to show the demonstration that they did and show you why we cannot do things in black ink and capital letters. Okay, so this is the demonstration. Oh, I forgot to introduce ourselves. All rise and stand. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3 Moorish American Al-Moroccan Consular Court action. I am sovereign living justice Pauline Denise Ritchie in capitis diminution nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are the original indigenous sovereign ancient Al-Moroccan Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous natural divine de jure Moorish National Republic federal government and other Moorish governments that we honor who join us on the call. So we want to honor all of the Moorish governments that attend our calls. We honor you. We hereby exercise all sovereign rights at this time and at all times not so tough. So our Go Back More Sovereign Dollarium is not corporate. Our money starts with us. It originated by the Moors and is backed by gold and all natural resources, to include its being backed by our sovereign autograph, which is our full faith, credit, allegiance, and authority within ourselves. We are not a part of the corporate capitalism system. We are de jure and allodial. Our financial system is in its analog phase, which ensures that it starts and stays allodial, de jure, sovereign, and firmly under the control of the Moors. And by firmly under control of the Moors, this is what we mean. Any Moors who are doing affidavits in red and all lowercase letters with gold clauses in them, you are in complete control of the banking system, the whole financial system. This is your system, and we're all in control of it together. That which starts in truth stays in truth, and as we know to the contrary, that which starts in fraud stays in fraud too. So we don't do it. We don't start it with fraud, and starting it with fraud would have been using corporate forms, etc. We are an analog back-end banking system, which is the springboard and the motherboard of the developing sovereign electronic banking system. It's developing, but it has to start analog meaning starting with our sovereign documents and our sovereign proclamations, putting it on the public record by affidavit, and an unrebutted affidavit stands as law. All Moors are part and parcel of the process through their study and demonstration. Islam. Now, so this is the demonstration that some of the Moors did. And again, we support all Moors. No matter what your demonstration is, we support you. But we do want to make sure that we stay out of that corporate system. And some Moors still kind of think that the corporate system works, so they still keep going back to black ink and capital letters, and they keep showing them, don't come here. The only reason that we let you in is so you can learn a little bit, and then we boot you out and leave you with some and send you with some debt. Okay, that's what they do in those corporate systems, period. So it's best not to even go in. You can study the corporate system and learn it without being in it. So Moors placed the word delarium in black ink and capital letters to fit onto a corporate platform. And here is what happened. Let me make this a little smaller so that we can see the whole thing. And again, Islam Justice Geo, I'm going to open. It's unlocked. Islam, thank you. So this is a demonstration. Some Moors placed delarium in black ink and all capital letters onto a platform, and they put a large amount. They did some programming and things like that, and they put a large amount on there, etc. But again, it's a corporate platform, so we don't use corporate platforms. And sure enough, and again, we honor their energy and their intention because they want access to their estate. We all do. But we have to take the time to do it the right way. We have to take the time to do it the right way. And the right way is always going to be starting it with us and keeping it with us. No one turns their checkbook over to foreigners and says, okay, even though that's my checkbook, you go ahead and just do whatever you're going to do. No, we don't do that. So, and we're just using this as a teaching tool. We're not bashing anybody or anything. Again, we honor their energy. We honor their energy, but we do have to do things in red and all lowercase letters, and we have to fix our own, put our own, everything has to be done by the Moors. And then we just have to support one another in all that we're doing. So they put some delarium into this system where apparently the platform is well, I won't say the platform, but it's an open source platform. And they had it so that it matched the Bitcoin and all of that and the USD. But again, if you're matching Bitcoin and USD in their corporate state, you haven't really done anything because it can be violated, and it was. So I didn't know any of this was going on. And again, we're not blaming anybody. We honor the energy. There were other Moors involved, and they even received cards, that were resembling ATM cards. But the ATM cards had capital letters on them, and this all I'm finding out today. The cards had capital letters on them, and the Moors were not in control of the cards. There was some foreign energy in control of the cards. That's why everything was put in black ink and capital letters. But again, it's still a learning tool. The Moors that were involved, it's a learning tool. So take what you learn, come out of that, re-invoke jurisdiction, terminate all corporate contracts with that, come out of it, because we have to come out of the corporate capitalism system. and reinvoke jurisdiction and move on, okay? And they ended up, the Moors who got those cards, the cards didn't work, everything kind of like backfired, and they ended up, you know, abandoning what they did because, you know. So we honor the energy, but we have to develop our own platform from scratch. It's easy to do because we know that the internet started with us because there are landlines underneath the ground that cause the wireless above ground things to work. They have to have a receptor in the ground or a receiver or a transistor in the ground first before anything in the air will work. So from then, you know, we're still moving and doing what we do. The dollarium that we have put forth is not in any way compromised because, again, it was already done outside of the capitalism system, and we've already terminated all corporate contracts with the capitalists. So no matter how many things are put in capital letters, it doesn't affect us at all. That's the point of the termination of all corporate contracts. In red and all lowercase letters, we have to keep that in mind. We have to do it. We have to, and we have to stay doing that. Stay outside of the capitalist system because it might look like it will work, but it won't. It's not even working for them. That's why they spend so much time in these meetings and you know, in the chat and all of that because their system's not working, so they're not even paying attention to that thing anymore. They're trying to see what we're doing because they already know we're the only ones who can be outside of that system. And then anyone else, yes. Termination in the chat, termination of all corporate contracts isolates us from their system, which is what needs to be done. It's like a fortress. It keeps us safe from that system. That's what the termination of corporate contracts and keeping them terminated and the red writing in all lowercase letters. Okay? So having said that, I don't want to take up any more time. I want to yield the floor to Empress Kenya. She has done an amazing job with the dollarium. She just stepped up almost seemingly out of nowhere. We of course we know of our sister, but she stepped up with the work in. It was already done. And there are some images that were placed on the dollarium that we're not voting on today. Those images were placed there because we were given a mandate by the ancestral energies to get the dollarium out today. So we went ahead and put some images on the dollarium. And we had gotten, permissions previously from some who are on the dollarium, not all, but some. And then the other photos that came onto the dollarium that we have that are complete, they came from the public record. So I did hear some asking, well, who voted on the other dollarium? Yes, we're voting on these, but who voted on those? Our mother, the ancestors they said, get something out there because there is a timeline with regard to the finance piece and also the Moors. We've been saying we need our own money. We need our own money. And in order for us to meet the mandate that we assigned in the Constitution, we had to get something out too. So we took what we had, we're putting it out there, and then the dollarium that we're voting on today, we're going to put that out there afterwards. Everyone just about who has sent documents in to the Moroccan American Exchange email, which is thegovernment@gmail.com. That's government with an E on the end. THEGOVERNMENTE@gmail.com. Everyone who has sent their documents in will receive Delarium by midnight today. So we will be hitting send right at that full moon on the West Coast, okay, so that you get yours. If you do not get your Delarium in the email, check your email if you sent the packet in, because there's some packets that we could not process because they're not in red and all lowercase letters, or there was something in them that we needed. And so we've gone through and sent back emails saying, can you get us this? Can you get us that? You know, can you resend this because we need this in red and all lowercase letters? Okay. And then some forgot to sign one or two of the documents. We can't take the dividend checks and things if we don't have those documents, the name change and judicial proclamation and the termination of corporate contracts, etc., the things that are specified in the email. We need to have those in, and if and anyone who does not have them, all you have to do is email. If you want the investment and inheritance package, please email the government at gmail.com. THEGOVERNMENT @gmail.com. Empress Valerie, when did you send your request to the government at gmail.com email? Because that's where the requests are sent, okay? And that's in the chat. The email is in the chat. And you'll receive it by email, and then you just download the documents, you study them. They are in red and ancient English. Please leave them in red and ancient English. And you will also receive a treasury check. And with each treasury check that you receive and each dividend affidavit that you receive, there should be one check and one dividend affidavit for each company that you are inheriting, claiming, stepping up to do the work for, okay? So, Empress Valerie, if you'll just, I'm going to put it in the chat again. Thank you, Empress Princess Ali put the, she put it in the chat a little earlier. There's the email in the chat, thegovernment@gmail.com. Just send your request there for and just put in the title Inheritance and Investment Packet or Sovereign Inheritance Packet, and you'll get it. You should receive it almost instantly. We have that packet on auto reply so that you can get them right away, and then we're going back when we, during our working hours, we're going back through the emails and making sure that we've answered questions. Many of you we've talked to on the phone. We have had to temporarily pause the one-on-one conferences in order to catch up on the packets. And we've gotten so much interest in the packets. We're excited about that. It's beautiful. And the total on the amount of investments that have come in from the heirs in gold-backed Moorish sovereign Delarium is well into we're at about probably 7 trillion in Moorish sovereign Delarium, somewhere around there. But don't quote me on that. I'll have to go back and finish because the numbers that we're at are too high for the calculators that we have. It's too many zeros. But I'll give you an idea. Just one of the companies, General Motors, the heirs have given $533 million to that one company alone. That means that we want some conveyances done by the Moors. So, the generosity of the Moors, it knows no bounds, and for that we are grateful. And again, we're growing our own vast estate when we give to our own vast estate. So with that being said, Empress Kenya, are you, I'm going to yield the floor and the presentment to her. Let me, let's see, just one moment. Let me get, Kenya.
Islam,
Empress, we can hear you.
okay.
I just want to get the, I want to get the presenter, just one moment. Let me get the presenter piece to you so that you can share your screen. You should see the prompt.
Okay, I'm looking.
Let me know when the prompt comes over.
Okay. Don't see it yet.
Do you see? Okay.
Still waiting for the prompt.
Okay. I'm actually having to sign back in on my computer.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. But can you just bear with me here? I'm having a little bit.
Okay.
Just want to make sure. Let me try it again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I see that. Oh.
Good.
Okay, let me know when you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see it. Islam.
Okay, excellent. Islam Moors. So today we're having the vote for the nominees of our Moorish sovereign delarium, the Moorish American National Republic federal government. We only need to select two.
Please record yourselves trying to use your move dollars tomorrow. We want a good laugh.
Islam.
Just one moment. Go ahead, Empress.
Okay. So we only need to select two empresses. The delarium that we're voting for today is the 1 MSD, the 50 MSD, the 1,000 MSD, the 1 million MSD, as well as the 10 million MSD. So we have number 1, we have Empress Ninti El-Bray. She is one that has been nominated by the Moors. So we're going to be casting our vote within the chat. by selecting the number for the empress that matches that number. Okay, and then we're going to be counting them, and the two with the highest number of votes will be the nominees that are selected and branded on the Delarium.
Esther Anderson. I vote for Esther Anderson.
This one. So, Morris, in the chat, if you will just put what the number of the empress that you want, you can put it in the chat, and then any Morris that are on the phone, if you want your vote to be heard, just *6 and state a number of the empress that you want to be on. And if they're not on the first one, there's a second vote. They can be on the second Delarium. Okay, it's fine. Go ahead, Empress. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Six.
That's not how to vote.
But that's our number as well. Okay, that describes our physical makeup. But okay, so we have number 2, which is Harriet Tubman. We have number 3, which is Khalifa.
Try using them Negro dollars in a real bank tomorrow. Try.
Go ahead, Empress.
We have number 4, Queen Khalifa of California. Number 5, Sister Myra Moore. Number 6 is Empress Carla Ursa McBride Yates Bay. She passed, I think, early this year or late last year. And she's someone who has been very instrumental in, converting a lot of so-called blacks to the Moorish American nationality. She has processed a lot of paperwork, so we definitely want to honor her. A lot of us don't know who she is, but she has put a lot of work in that aspect. And then we have number 7, Kava Bay. I didn't find any images for Kava Bay, so if she is selected, we would definitely need the Moors to assist us with acquiring a picture for our beloved Empress. All right, so
Princess Ali, will you take the count of the numbers in the chat, please? Would you mind doing that, Princess Ali? If you're available, let me just see. She may, in fact, I think she was on the road. Okay, I'll do it. I'll give the count.
And I also did do a tally sheet. So, I was just going to put some lines and things of that nature. But it looks to me, I'm seeing a whole lot of 4. So we definitely have 4, which is Queen Khalifa of California. We have a number 1 and a number 6 based on what I did see. Oh, number 5, excuse me. So we have 1 5, 1 1, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. We have 14 number 4 so far.
Okay.
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 So you guys can go ahead and continue to put in the numbers.
Number 4.
Just one moment. There's some coming
4.
through. Islam. So there's another number 4.
Yep.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
Was number 2.
Okay.
Who was number 2?
Harriet Tubman.
Okay. My vote goes there.
Islam.
Travis Neal Abdulaziz Banks, number 4.
Islam. Other more? Feel free to *6 to unmute yourself and state your appellation and then the number of your vote. Islam? Are there any other votes?
I'd like to vote for Araminta Ross Bay, also known as Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
Islam, Valerie Price Bay. I would like to vote for Queen Khalifa of California.
Islam. Go ahead, Nobility.
Justice Frank, Harry Tubman.
Islam. Islam. As many more as possible, we would love to hear from you. We did hear many in the chat. There were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, about 17 in the chat.
Yeah, 17 of number 4. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. And I did see a question in the chat asking, is this for the 10 million MSD? So the person who receives the highest number of votes will be on the highest delarium, and then it'll trickle down in that way so that we're not, just making a decision for a specific delarium amount. We're going to just do it that way.
There was another question in the chat that says, and this is beautiful, is it too late to vote for Queen Valahara? It is for this election, but there will be others. So please keep her in mind because she's very powerful. And, if I could have had, I had about 5 or 6 names, appellations that I wanted to put forth, but, this is the people's vote, so I'm reserving, but yes. It's not too late. It's just that for this voting, we already had the nominees in early, and that's why we stated a few weeks back, to go ahead and get your votes in. It's been about a month and a half since we first mentioned that we were going to have the vote. So we've given ample amount of time for nominations to come in, and fortunately, the Moors came through and nominated and nominated and nominated. So we have a very viable election. And so we want to honor the Moors who sent in appellations. And we saw appellations in many different places. Some were nominating on social media, others were nominating via email, etc. So we went ahead and listened to all of the voices of the Moors and put them forth here. Islam. I yield.
Islam. So currently we have 1 for Empress Ninti Bay. We have 4 for Harriet Tubman. We have 17 for Queen Khalifa of California. We have 1 for Sister Myra Moore, and we have 1 for Empress Carla Eartha McBride Yates Bay. So we have our 2 nominees in terms of our Empress Delarium. Now we're going to proceed to the vote for the Emperor, and I'm actually going to just change the view of my screen so that we can see it side by side and give you a full spectrum of the nominees. Okay? Just let me know if you guys are able to see.
Empress, who's the second highest?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Who was had the second highest number of votes? For
Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman. Mm-hmm. Islam. So let me just go down and... Okay. So the emperors, we had a little bit more names come in terms of nominations. So I'm just going to run through them, and 3 need to be selected for the delarium. So we have Charles Mosley Bay, which is CM Bay. We have Prince Uriel Bay. We have Asir, the Duke of Tears, which is number 3. We have John Hanson, which is number 4. We have number 5, Dr. Yusuf bin Yakuman. We have for number 6, J.A. Rogers. For number 7, we have Bobby Hemmett. For number 8, we have C. Freeman L. For number 9, we have Dr. Delbert Blair. For number 10, we have John Henry Clark. For number 11, we have Dr. Phil Valentine. And number 12 is Chief Yachanan Israel. So at this time, you can go ahead and enter the number that corresponds with the name for the vote. And if you would like to state it publicly, then you can go ahead and *6 and cast your vote. All right. Now, if you're not able to see it, I can just take it back to the vertical view and just show you it a little bigger, because it wouldn't allow me to make it bigger when I did double side-by-side slide view.
Empress, can you, in the lower right-hand corner, can you blow it up just a little bit bigger?
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
So that they can see.
Sure.
So number 1, if you want to just read them out again, Empress, so that they will know.
Okay. Sure. So number 1 is Charles Mosley Bay, which is also known as CM Bay. We have number 2, Prince Uriel Bay. Number 3, we have Asir, the Duke of Tears. Number 4, we have John Hanson. Number 5, we have Dr. Yusuf bin Yachanan. We have number 6, J.A. Rogers. Number 7, we have Bobby Hemmett. Number 8, we have C. Freeman L. Number 9, we have Dr. Delbert Blair. Candidate number 10, we have John Henry Clark. Candidate number 11, we have Dr. Phil Valentine. And then candidate number 12, we have Chief Yachanan Israel.
So go ahead in the chat and place your votes there.
Islam.
And then those, Islam.
Travis Neal Abdulaziz Bay, number 1.
Islam. And please do not inbox me your vote. Your vote has to be out on the public. You cannot inbox it to me. Islam.
Islam?
Yes, Islam.
Cynthia Ann Bay, number 9. Islam.
Islam. Empress Kenya, are you able to see the votes that are coming in the chat?
Yes, I'm seeing them, and I am tallying them as well.
Yes. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, Valerie Price Bay, Dr. Yusuf Ben Yachanan.
Islam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Empress.
Uriel Bay.
Islam, Empress. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Islam,
Islam Justice.
Dr. Yusuf Ben Johannan.
Islam. Thank you, Nobility.
Islam.
Justice Dawood, did you put your vote on the public? Because you may have inboxed me accidentally, but it does need to go out onto the record.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Islam.
Okay.
Number 1, Charles Mosley Bay, Islam.
Islam. Thank you, Nobility. And thank you to everyone in the chat who is voting. Thank you.
Islam Alessandra Ali, CM Bay.
Islam. Thank you, Empress. Would anyone else like to put a vote on the record or in the chat?
Islam?
Islam, okay.
Ronnie L. Bay? John Hanson?
Islam. Thank you, Mobility.
All right. Is there anyone else that would like to cast a vote? Because I do have my tally. All right, so far, Charles Mosley Bay received a total of 16 votes. Dr. Yusuf bin Yakumin received a total of 5 votes. And Prince Uriel Bay received a total of 4 votes. We also have 2 votes for Isaiah the Duke of Tears, 2 votes for John Hanson. We have 1 vote for Bobby Hemmett, 1 vote for C. Freeman L., 1 vote for Dr. Delbert Blair, and 2 votes, for John Henry Clark.
Islam.
Islam.
Beautiful.
That's it. Okay.
Beautiful.
So those will be our 3 candidates that were selected. Will be Charles Mosley Bay, Prince Uriel Bay, as well as Dr. Yusuf bin Yakumin.
Islam. For the people, of the people, and by the people. Islam.
Islam.
Empress Kenya, thank you. Can we all just kind of unmute and give Empress Kenya some love, because she has just worked so hard. She's just so quick with it.
Much love. Thank you.
Empress.
Thank you.
Love and peace. Thank you so much for your
Peace and
work.
love and light, Empress.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Empress. Thank you. Islam.
Thank you.
All thanks to the ancestors. Thank you so much, everyone.
Islam. Islam. Somebody got really excited. So I'm excited for us as a nation. Thank you so much, Empress Kenya. I mean,
Frank hasn't heard that noise in a long time.
Let me see where that came from. I did not see where that noise came from.
I didn't see it either. We'll catch it next time.
Yeah, we will. So, thank you so much for your vote, because the voting process, as you know, is a process that determines jurisdiction also. Voting is a jurisdictional issue. That's why they put so much effort, the corporates did, into trying to get people to vote. Because they take jurisdiction over people, whereas when we vote, no one has jurisdiction over us. We're self-governing. And when we cast a vote in our government, because we are all part and parcel of our government and for our government, and when we do that, we prove in no uncertain terms that we are self-governing. There's no question about it. Islam. So, thank you, Empress Kenya, so much for that. Let's get it. So tonight we're going to issue the dollarium that are currently printed up, and we might even be able to get the ones that were voted on tonight out tonight. It just depends. I don't want to make any promises there because I'm not the one doing the work. Because Kenya is the one doing the work. So we will work as quickly as we can. But in any event, dollarium will start going out tonight, and over the next few days and weeks, those who send their packets in, and the packets must be complete and signed with picture IDs. And your name change and judicial proclamation must be in red and all lowercase letters and properly documented. So that, and then before you send us your documents, ensure that you place them on the public record. Place your documents on the public record prior to sending them to us, or as soon as you can. Place them on the public record, because that is also a jurisdictional issue where you're in your own sovereign jurisdiction when we do these things together. There's strength in our numbers. With that being said, are there any questions or comments or anything of that nature with regard to all that's going on and the voting and anything else that's going on with our nation at this time? You can star 6 if you have any questions. Islam interest.
Yes. What is the exact title or of document am I asking for? Inheritance sovereign package when I go to
yes.
the email?
The government. Yes, the government at gmail.com. Just put sovereign inheritance and investment package.
Investment.
So what the heirs are doing is, yes, it's sovereign inheritance and investment packet. And the investments, we do not accept fiat at all. We only accept our own Moorish sovereign dollarium. And we send a treasury check with the packet so that you can fill that out and send your dollarium in. For each company, and we also send the list of companies, Empress, so that for each company that you choose, and you can choose as many as you would like to choose, for each company, send a separate check and dividend affidavit.
Say that again. I'm sorry, the last part.
For each company, send a separate, treasury check and dividend affidavit for each company, so that we can keep track of how much each company has been invested by the heirs.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we do have more, and this is what, it is a process, because we do have some Moors who have chosen up to 200 companies that they wanted to invest in to support their nation. So, and to claim their inheritance. So we continue to, we welcome as many as are necessary, and we're just going to make our way through them, which is what we've been doing, is making our way through the documents, etc. Are there any other questions, comments, or anything else that we can answer or assist with?
Islam.
Islam is
this is Tia. I wanted the opportunity to thank our sister for the incredible work she's done on the dollarium and how she shared it with us. But I also wanted the opportunity to introduce Carla Eartha McBride Yates Bay to the Moors, if you allow me at least 2 minutes to honor her.
We will be happy to give two minutes as you request.
Okay, I thank you for that. I wrote something, so I just want her honored this way. It was something that she asked of me, and I wish to honor it publicly before all the Moors. On the 13th of March, 1962, Empress Eartha Bay, ex-rel Carla Eartha McBride Yates, was born in Coxon Hole, Rawton. the Bay Islands of occupied Honduras. Now known as the Bay Islands Kingdom Nation, Atlantis Island, Central Amexem. Full of love, life, and laughter, she, the 8th child born to John Daniel and Nell Elizabeth McBride, was affectionately known as Earthy by the native Bay Islanders, and outside of the island of Roatan amongst her Moorish American family, she was known as Empress Earthy. As a young woman, she left the island of Roatan to attend college in La Ceiba, Honduras, where she received a degree in business and accounting. She went on to run her own business, Roatan Culture Village, which was a hotspot for global tourists in the 90s on a cruise tourism island. She was also the founder and the ambassador of the Tourism Foundation, Bay Islands Culture Village, which was a hotspot for global tourists. As the ambassador of the Tourist Foundation, Bay Islands Cultural Heritage, and Island Gastronomy, those were her life's passion. She never missed an opportunity to share the native history of her family, her people, and her beautiful Bay Islands Kingdom Nation's future allodial story, her vision for free BEY Islands, and she fought fiercely for the socio-economic freedom of the Bay Islands people from an immoral, illegal, and unlawful 1860 treaty between England and Honduras in violation of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1797-1836, which has kept the native islanders in perpetual socio-economic marginalization and poverty. She loved to travel and spend time advocating for the recognition and sovereignty of the indigenous First Nation inhabitants and descendants of the original native Bay Island people's islands, 8 islands and 53 keys. Upon learning the true history and territorial jurisdiction and uncovering the human trafficking contract known as the Treaty between England and Honduras, which violated the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, she embarked with the then goodwill ambassador of the Bay Islands of Honduras, Patricia Gutierrez, now known Justice Tia Alvarez El Bay, who together left the islands in search of Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey. Upon arrival and searching and finding Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey via Dr. Naila Gilliam, Empress Eartha and Empress Tia embarked on a 32-day erudition journey with the Grand Sheikh, which culminated in both nationalization and months later with the Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey autographing both consul commission documents to further the work committed to be done on behalf of the Bay Island Kingdom Nation and her people, all the while battling stage 4 breast cancer and being untimely demised by the iniquitous and heinous pandemic pay physicians who tampered with her medical files, creating opportunity for egregious compromise of her health and directly causing her untimely death. An affidavit of truth and facts surrounding Empress Earthy's last days while enduring the effects of COVID-19 resulted in a great irreplaceable loss of one of the greatest matriarchal cultural heritage keeper for the native Bay Island Kingdom First Nations people. This is a posthumous and sacrificially earned nomination of a great Moabitist matriarch whose last wishes was that she be remembered on our national currency. It is an honor to nominate Empress Eartha Bey for this nomination. It is an honor just to have the opportunity to nominate her and keep it 100. I yield and I thank you.
You're muted, you nigress. You're muted.
Thank you for that. I want to take this time to honor. Thank you, Empress Tia. That was very well stated. I want to take the time to honor all Moors, every Moor out there, every Moor that's who has ever done a demonstration. All Moors, I want to honor you because it is it is by your sovereign demonstration. If you've ever even said one time, I'm a Moor, to any foreign occupier, to anyone, even to family, and kin, and clan, if you've ever said it even once over the phone, if you've ever done one document that says, I'm a Moor, I want to take this time, we're taking this specific time out of this call to honor you. Because that is how we rise. We rise by our sovereign demonstration. It takes guts. It takes boldness. It takes intestinal fortitude like we've never had to use before to do this work. We want to honor our teachers who have given us so much, to include the consular things and the information about the consular things, knowing that as sovereigns we are that. We are the consular things. I want to take the time to honor all of the heirs of all Moors, because they, you, are the future of this nation and this government. You are why we're going to stay doing what we're doing. We're doing this for our heirs, for ourselves, and for our ancestors. And having said that, I also want to take this time to welcome the India consulate. We do have now over in the land of India territory across the water, nationality documents on record, a nationality commitment on record. So, and they are committed to spreading the word throughout India territory about Moorish nationality for the people of the land there. So we're really excited about that too, as well as all of the other lands. Okay, so and I believe Kuala Lumpur is in this meeting today. Empress Mercedes, are you here? I thought I may have seen her in the chat. Let's see. I'm not sure if she's here, so we want to honor Empress Mercedes, who is at Kuala Lumpur. She sent us some beautiful photos from the Kuala Lumpur territory. We want to honor Justice David Osaka, who is David L., who is in Osaka, Japan, the consulate there. We want to honor all of the Moors who are at the consulate in the Empress Frederica Clark, who is at Guyana, French Guiana. We want to honor our consulate there. We want to honor the consuls at China territory. We want to honor the consuls at Indonesia territory. We want to honor the consuls at Thailand territory who leaned everyone in sight, to include the corpses that were doing things in China. They leaned about 250 corporations in China. We want to honor them as well, and they know who they are. And we just want to keep going and keep doing what we're doing, because we're earth-wide already. It's a wrap on that. And now we're going to get the Moorish Sovereign Delarium out all over the earth as well. And then we're going to embark on trade and exchange. We're going to be venturing into that and how best to do that using our gold-backed Sovereign Delarium, as well as bringing any other nations who have their own currencies, their national currencies, bringing them in and beginning the exchange back and forth with them as well. So we just need to keep doing what we're doing, which we will do that. Keep doing our demonstrations. When things happen, let's try not to panic, because we know that we're being tested, and we're going to keep going from there. With that being said, thank you so much for your vote. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs, Islam.
Grand rising to the
Grand rising.
Grand Rising.
Morocco.
Grand Rising.
Peace,
Grand
love,
Rising.
everybody.
Good luck. Good morning.
Grand Rising. Long live the Empire.
Islam.
That's what I was doing, by the way. The President said today, and even what some of my